What's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another video. And oh man, we got Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 263. Leaks and spoilers are out, and everybody was in anticipation on what was gonna go down. I'm glad no one died. Because that was one of the things I was just all like, not to say that it might not happen next chapter, but I was worried about Yuta. I was worried about Yuta there, but, which I still am worried about. You'll find out as this goes on. But hey, if you're new to the channel, definitely leave a like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 5K. Yo, shout out to Miyamara because they got these down pat. Now, Jujutsu Kaisen will be on break next week. This is also a 19-page chapter, which I don't even remember the last time that there was a freaking a 19-page chapter for Jujutsu Kaisen. So that's dope. Now, chapter begins, and people as well, we was all wondering, is he gonna be able to hit with this hollow purple? Chapter begins with unlimited void domains barrier getting shattered, and I was like, oh man. Sukuna's skin is torn out as he lands out of the barrier and says even his malevolent shrine barrier was destroyed simultaneously. Sukuna's just all like he pulled it off. Even if purple is his ultimate technique, he's still not used to using it. So that's very, very interesting. And again, I was setting up there like, where's Yuta? I'm all like, yo, what's going on? But then I didn't even think that, hey, as soon as that clash was over, Todo and Yuji was gonna come through, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Todo and Yuji immediately spring into action alongside Yuta. Todo asks Yuta to spam as many purples as he can once he recovers the curse technique and to not worry about them getting caught in the crossfire because he can avoid it using Boogie Woogie. Now, this was really, really cool because I was sitting up there like, okay, this could be like a really dope fight, like Yuta with Gojo's body, Yuji and Todo. And I was wondering, I was just all like, is Yuji gonna give a reaction to this? But no, Yuji does not react towards Yuta using Gojo's body. He's locked in, which is super, super dope. Now, of course, this was to weaken him, and it all makes sense as far as towards the end, but I'm just all like, there was something as we go along where you just like explaining his like copy technique and how there's like a different aspect, there's like two aspects to it. It's very, very interesting. But the narrator reveals that after using his domain, Sukuna's once again in a state where it's difficult for him to use his curse technique. So pretty much it's all hands at this point. Like there's not much Sukuna can do that we know of. But in the next moment, Yuta immediately falls down, indicating that Kenjaku's curse technique has stopped. Narrator says that Kenny's curse technique, which Yuta had copied, got burnt out once the domain broke. So even before 5 minutes could pass, Kenny's curse technique got halted. Now, it's very, very interesting the wording that they're using, and we're going to have to wait for the officials to come out to know for sure. But, they use the words like halted, and stopped versus like it disappearing. You know what I mean? Like it's just very, very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments with that. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But Yuta goes on to say, damn it, Rika-chan's not haunting this body means copy is no longer mine, making Limitless the burnt out technique, which Okay, like I get as far as that. Yuta says, I thought I would still be able to use Kenjaku's dot dot dot. Was there some trick behind Kenjaku being able to use this technique immediately um following the domain expansion? I didn't take any information like that in when I copied his technique. I at least want to deploy a barrier for those two sakes. So that's interesting. That's interesting because I think it's along the lines of it. They didn't know that using up the domain expansion would cause for, I guess, more of the copied curse technique to be used quicker than what was intended, possibly. So he's just all like, okay, well, limitless is the burnt out technique. He wants to still use a barrier, which I'm confused on how that's even still possible. And is Yuta just like on the floor, holding on, can't move? What's gonna happen to Yuta? So Toto notices Yuta reaching his limit and admires Sukuna for not loosening up his offense. Toto says, I guess that's why they call him the King of Curses. Noticing Toto being distracted, Sukuna immediately has a black flash on him, which was crazy. I was all like, oh shit. Like point blank up in this joint. Like it was bad. Like I'm just seeing, I don't even see Toto's, like everyone's so locked in, but I'm just all like, yo, I don't see nobody's pupils. Like we get this cool battle. Sukuna notices Yuji reaching towards him and turns around to defend himself, but Toto instantly teleports Yuji behind Sukuna. Toto says he's not done yet, which was really, really dope. And I thought that Yuji was gonna go ahead and hit a black flash, but we find out some other information here. So thanks to Toto sending Yuji in Sukuna's blind spot, Yuji successfully lands some punches on Sukuna's face. Toto is slapping the vibra slap on his head to activate Boogie Woogie, which is interesting because for some reason, after the Black Flash, I don't know what ended up happening, but it stopped registering his hand as a way to activate it. Or they was talking about binding vows, so that was interesting. Toto tells Yuji that bundle of cursed energy, he still has shards of his barrier floating around. Until these shards disappear, there's no greater stage at which Boogie Woogie can shine. Even Yuta's not done yet. Dang. And you see it. This is crazy. Like, you see the different ways that Toto has activated it. And enough times to where, this spread of Yuji and Toto toy with Sakuda's senses is crazy. Crazy. And then this was nuts. Yuji hit Sukuna with dismantle perfectly at the barrier between Sukuna and Megumi's soul. I was like, oh, what? Hold up. You can do that? I guess I was waiting for Yuji to awaken more, but I was all like, what? He can throw dismantles between souls? Like, that was dope though. It was dope though. Now, Yuji says, I'll do it as many times as it takes. Wake up, Fushiguro. Which I was all like, honestly, I was just like, honestly, fuck Megami. I was just all like, yo. And they're still trying to save. I just would have been like, yo, let's just worry about killing Sukuna. But Sukuna's shocked as he realizes Yuji can selectively choose the target of his technique. And you know what? It's very interesting. I've noticed that in several other mangas. Like, oh, before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah. These are not singles. These are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase, all of that in the link in the description. And just, check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So, anyways, guys, he could select who to attack with this, but Yuji's firing dismantle after dismantle directly at the barrier between Sukuna and Megami. So freaking crazy. Now this was interesting. I don't know what the implications for this is gonna be. But Sukuna backs away as he thinks that if he continues taking those blows, he won't be able to maintain his body and lose. Sukuna throws up some of his fingers and consumes them again, which I was like, wait, what does that even do? Like, this is one of those last ditch efforts. And, this scene kind of reminded me of Mojito's scene when he was trying to, when he was finished and he was trying to take out one of those curses or whatever out of his mouth and throw it up, but nothing came out. But I'm just all like, what? This is a possibility? Like, he could throw up the fingers and consume them again? So I don't know if that's gonna have any implications later on down the line. But Sukuna says Yuji has used the binding vow that will ensure that Yuji strikes will more effectively tear away Sukuna's soul from Megabee's body. And I keep on thinking it's just like they're throwing these binding vows around, but you gotta replace something, like in order to what's this gonna cost, with everyone throwing these binding vows around. And another thing is, what would happen if two black flashes connected with each other? I don't think that's happened yet, and I'm curious to know. Like, I might do some video on that, but it's very interesting. But Yuji cuts down the pillar in which Sukuna was standing on and tries to land a punch, but Sukuna dodges it in midair and strikes Yuji back, which is crazy. Now, Sukuna, if I simply avoid those blows and I have no other moves, then they'll have no other moves as effective. Total, if my spare Vibra Slap isn't recognized as my left hand, it won't function just one more time. And that's interesting because it looks like he had several. He said spare Vibra Slap. Which is very, very interesting. Toda slaps a Vibra Slap, but there's no swap. Sukuna grins as he prepares to face Yuji, but Toda once again uses his Vibra Slap, like psych. And then, Hana comes through with Angel's curse technique that got swapped this time, and she's directly above Sukuna's head. Like, that joint is crazy. Toda's Vibra Slap breaks as it does its job for the final time, and narrator says, though, through the use of a binding vow, Toda's curse technique range has been extended. Man, those binding vows, man, those are the new plot holes. Like, explain it with a binding vow. What was he able to do this binding vow? What? They did this binding vow. Now, we get an interesting flashback to Yuta discussing with Hana as she's getting treated. Angel says their role ends once Hana dispels Gojo Seal, but Hana's worried about Megami as she asks what would happen to him, which is very, very interesting. Now, Yuta apologized to Hana and Angel as he says they may have to rely on their curse technique in the end. He asked them to fire Jacob's ladder as a finishing blow to Sukuna. Yuna says it's an all or nothing gamble to attempt and split Sukuna and Megabee's soul. Now, Yuta says when an opponent faces him, all they think about is what and how many techniques has Yuta copied and kept in stock. How many do I gotta stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. But they never stop to think of the possibility of the original user of the technique he copied to appear. So that's interesting. I definitely want to know more about that. Yuta says true strength of his copy technique is the ability to have two of the same cards in his hand, which is like, what? Now, chapter ends with Hana blasting Angel's maximum output Jacob Ladder's technique, which is crazy. Editor's comment. Dang, did I miss it? Oh no, editor's comment at the end of 263. At the 11th hour, they play their trump card. Where will this battle to the death go next? And I think everybody is wondering that. Everybody's bad. We gotta wait till July 25th to know if Agent Technique hit Sukuna and managed to split him off from Megami. Oh, snap, crackle, pop. So this was an intense chapter. It was a long chapter, and there's a lot that's going on. So what's going on with Yuta? Right now, he's face down, trying to keep a barrier up. Toto's Viper Slap is done. Yuji's going in on Sukuna with Dismantles to the Soul, and Hana just throws a maximum output Jacob ladder. Sukuna has been tanking hits like nobody's business. I don't know what the indication of him coughing up some of his fingers and eating them again. That was interesting. So we're gonna see. This was definitely a dope chapter. I can't wait for the officials to come out. Make sure to like, subscribe, let me know what y'all think of this so that way I can if y'all are digging it, go ahead and drop this chapter review. But man, my mind's going to so many different places because I'm sitting up there thinking like, on Doctor Strange where the ancient one like knocked out Doctor Strange's Astral Soul, for the first time. That whole scene, I'm just picturing like Yuji doing a punch and Megami and Sukuna soul splitting like that type of thing, but then it's just like, all right, what happens when Megami and Sukuna's soul split? Because Sukuna's just like, I'll lose control of the body. So where's Sukuna gonna go? Is this going to go back to Yuji type of thing? I'm very curious to know what's gonna go down. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Smith's Composition MC, that writes fiction. Back at it with another video. Make sure to like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 5K. All right, y'all. Peace.